Hey everybody, this is Shanita. Thank you so much for tuning back into another video. It is wash day, as you can see, and I have already shampooed, used the rinse out conditioner, and deep conditioned my hair, and I am going to be using my little blow dryer to blow out my hair today. I've decided that I'm going to try to go and trim off some of my straggly ends, and so I like to do that when I have loosened up some of the texture out of my hair. I'm not going to blow it out completely straight, whatever my hair will do with that word, but I am going to just kind of let loose some of the texture a little bit before I go in to trim it. So I am going to be using the dryer that I always put down in my description box in the links as one of my favorite ones, and it is, mine is so old, you guys, it is this Revlon one-step dryer. This thing has been around YouTube for years and years and years. If you are new and you have never seen it, you are in for a treat. It is just this one-piece dryer with these bristles on it. And they have the little balls on the end of the bristles. That is the only thing I'm not crazy about. But I guess, I mean, they had to put something on the end, right? I think what I would prefer is if the little balls were even smaller. So if you can see it, forgive how dirty my thing is. The balls are kind of, I mean, they're not big. I just ideally would have liked for them to have used the black bristles and then just some kind of way rounded off the bristles at the top, as opposed to putting these little pink balls on it. But that is my only issue, but that's not an issue because I still like using this. Those little things help it to glide through my hair very well. They have stayed on magnificently well. I've probably had this thing, two and a half years or so. Not a single one has ever fallen off. So they're on there very good. So this is just, it only has this one switch, and you get off, cool, low, and high, and I usually do mine on high. The one thing, reason I love this thing so much is because it does two things in one. Number one, it dries the hair magnificently faster than any blow dry I've ever used. And the second thing it does is it straightens out the hair at the same time. I keep using the word straighten, but you can get your hair as loose as you want it to. You can run it through a few times and just kind of loosen the texture of your hair. You can pass it through as many times as you want to get it as straight as you want. I am going to be just loosely detexturing mine so that I can try to trim off some of these straggly ends. Here we are at the beginning of the fall season. I normally trim once every season, so about 4 times a year. And I just do 4 small trims then, and then that way I think my hair is good. But I'm going to be using this, and I'm going to walk you through what I use and to show you how it works. And for those of you who don't have one, this thing comes so in handy when it is cold, outside, or when it's wet outside. This works so good. It works so good. It comes in so handy, and I'm going to tell you all about that at the end. Nevertheless, I'm going to section off my hair how I am going to dry it, and I'm going to show you what I use, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have gone through and added the leave-ins, and it's a whole procedure, honey, that I do before blow drying. And so I wanted to come and let you see this last section because it is, girl, a video all its own. So the first thing I use is the Cocoa Cream Leave-In Conditioner by SheScentIt. Ever since I used this the first time when I blow dried my hair, it instantly became a fave. I think I said this months ago in a video when I showed this. This is the one I always use when I blow dry my hair. Is so lightweight and moisturizing at the same time. It says on here that you get it aids in moisture retention, organic botanicals, conditioned hair, restores suppleness to dry hair, and it features panthenol and coconut cream. I love how much body and how much hydration it gives my hair. So I use, I'm going to show you that much. I'm probably going to use more because this is a big section. I normally put this section in. In fact, let's just do that. I use a very lightweight conditioner like this because it's so it's got those botanical ingredients in it that makes it so light. Like the consistency of this stuff is like, look at that. It just completely disappears almost. So anybody could use that one. Very, very lightweight. But because it's so lightweight, it penetrates in my hair so beautifully. However, it is not enough leave-in conditioner for my hair. So when I used it once like this with just this leave-in and a blow dryer, it just wasn't enough. By the time that blow dryer hit it with that heat, it just sucked all the moisture out of it. So I learned at that point I definitely needed to use something else. So what I do is double up on leave-ins. I use that light one that is for hydrating and moisture purposes that absorbs in so beautifully. And I usually use the Shea Moisture, the hibiscus line, that first original line, either the no, not either. I normally use the milk that comes with that Shea Moisture line. I normally use that, but I gave that one away. And so I'm going to use the main Krush Crisis Control Ayurvedic leave-in. This is another one that I really like. I love this stuff. I have a lot of leave-ins that I like. There are just some I remember what they do, and when I'm thinking about what I'm doing for my hair, I try to just not just grab one, really try to remember what the conditioner did to my hair so that I can get the effect that I am looking for. So this one says it is for moisturizing and rehydrating hair. It is a leave-in. It has water, aloe juice, and then a ton of oils and marshmallow root and hibiscus flowers, fenugreek, and Irish moss. So it's a moisturizing leave-in, but it has these few herbs in it that's just enough to give it a little strength. I don't want to use protein in my hair at this point of the wash process. So again, I find these strengthening Ayurvedic herbs a very good substitute. And this is so, let me show you this if you've never seen it. It's very creamy. Very creamy. Like, it is just soft to the touch. I've been working with Main Krush since, oh my gosh, I was working with them as an affiliate starting in April, and it was supposed to end the end of May. And so by the end of May, I still had so many products that I wanted to show and do some demos on. And so she decided, okay, let's extend the affiliation till end of August. So I believe I actually came on here and told you guys, look at me, I'm talking, I'm using the wrong leave-in. I came on and told you all that they were going to extend that affiliation, and that code was going to be used. It could be used up until April 1st. Y'all, I need to slow down. The code could be used up till September 1st. So it's going to go through August and end September 1st. So what I found was in August, Julie and a few of other people were still using the code. She had not activated it. And so since people were still using it, and she felt like people were still watching old videos and maybe using the code, and she thought that maybe, you know what? Keeping you around might be a good thing. So we're going to reevaluate it and see how it goes at the end of December. So if you still want to use that Essence code to get you some Main Krush products, you know that you can. And I highly recommend it. I have several videos on here from Main Krush, and I still got new products that I have gotten in that I need to use. And in fact, I just got a box in the other day from their last sale they had. I don't even remember what the sale was, you guys, but I do have some new products, and I definitely need to show them to you and come and use them. I have loved everything I have tried from them. Like, I can't go wrong. She has certain products that go out of season and come back in season depending on, if it's colder weather or warmer weather. You just can't go wrong. This particular line, the Crisis Control line. So I think this is the one that just went out of season, and she's getting ready to bring in, I don't even know the name of the other one. But nevertheless, if you follow her on Instagram, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. or be sure to sign up for her text messages or the emails that go out to everybody. So I have my light leave-in in, my little tiny one that absorbs in so well, that makes it all nice and soft and bouncy. I have my little bit of a thicker leave-in that gives my hair some strength and then adds a little bit more moisture. The herbs in it are going to help to strengthen my hair to try to keep some of the damage down from the breakage. Now, here is what's going to blow your mind. At this point, I use a silicone product on my hair. Before you turn the video off, let me explain why. This was so old, like the pump is gone, it's so broken off. This is where I use a silicone on my hair, because in the video where I talked about 5 reasons your hair might go dry, I talked about how silicones can prevent your hair from getting moisture in that will keep it dry. Silicones also, because again, they leave that plastic little coating onto your hair. When you use it before heat, it actually acts as a protectant to your hair. Not only does it lay down cuticles really well, it helps in detangling really well, but it protects your hair from the heat, any potential heat damage that you may get during any heat session. So I always add a little bit, not a lot. Now, if I were to really coat this on heavy, that would be a problem. But if you use heat at all, this is where I would advise you to use a little bit of a silicone product to protect your hair. And also, you're going through the effort of blowing your hair out and making it, smoother, and trying to get it out to stretch so that you can do whatever style or cut or whatever reason you're doing that. So you want a product that's going to help with that, so that you don't have to run that dryer through your hair so many times. So I'm going to show you what I do. Again, my little pump is broke because I've had this jar, and I'm not kidding, it's like right here. I've probably had this stuff, y'all, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And I use this during the winter time a little bit more often, because I used to blow dry my hair a lot more often in the winter, because I was getting out, going to work. And if I was doing my hair late at night, like I'm so prone to do, I would have to blow dry my hair a little bit before I started styling it, so that I can ensure that it would be dry by the morning. So you may see me break out the little handy dandy dryer a few times this year, but not much. We'll see. So I take this, and I have to pull the whole thing out and show you. Literally just drop this on here. There's 1, 2, okay, 3 drops. 3 drops. You can see how little that is. That is really, literally all you need. And as soon as you rub that on your hair, you can instantly tell how smooth the coating is and how it is laying down those cuticles. This stuff, this Paul Mitchell one, detangles so well. Oh my gosh, it detangles so well. And that is the other thing with blow drying our hair. Our hair is curly, and so if you're putting something in it like a blow dryer that you're gonna have to use not only heat but a little bit of tension to get the hair straightened out, you want something that's gonna make that you want to make sure you're using something that's going to help with the detangling properties, right? Because if you are blow drying and you run into a knot, or you run into a bunch of tangled hair, you're going to have to put a little bit more pressure on the dryer to get it through your hair. And the more you have to snag at that hair to try to get it to detangle or lay down, or to get that dryer through it, the more potential damage you may be doing. So I want to do whatever I can to protect the hair, not seal off all the moisture, and to be able to smooth and detangle it to make it easy for drying. So again, I take about 3 drops, and it does not, of course, have to be this particular product. There are tons of products out there, serums that have silicone in them, that you can use. I have several that I like, and you just pick one that you like. The other one that I like a lot that you can find on the ground in Sally's anytime is that one that we used to use all the time when we were relaxed, that one and only argan oil one. That is another one that I will use to, use a few drops before this if you don't have access to the Paul Mitchell one. See, I'm still pulling shed hairs out. Okay, so I am going to now show you how this baby works. Now, this is going to be loud because I want to show you in real time how fast it dries. I mean, I could go through the motions and speed it up so that I will save time, but I really want you to see how fast this dries and straightens out your hair, which is why it is such a huge hit. If you click on that link down below, that Amazon link, you will see the thousands and thousands of reviews of people talking about how well it works. It is extremely good, and I highly suggest everybody has that one in their arsenal of tools, especially if you wear your hair in twist outs and braid outs and the like, and you want to ensure that your hair is going to be properly dry and healthy in the morning when you get up. So, okay, I'm going to get the dryer. I'm going to take my little detangling brush, start from the ends, and make sure that it is nice and detangled. And you start from the bottom, work your way up. Make sure you're getting the roots in the last couple of strokes so it feels nice and detangled. All right, so I'm gonna turn this baby on, and I'm gonna put mine on high. I could put it on low, and then I'll be here a lot longer. I just like to shoot it with heat and be done. But this high is not hot. I've heard people say, oh my God, it's so hot, like I can't handle it. And I'm like, that's not hot. Maybe I've had some blow dryers that are really hot, but I don't think this is hot at all. But nevertheless, here we go. So that was about 4 or 5 passes, and even though it is still really shrunken and still textured, it's damp. It is not completely dry, and you know what? Let's just finish drying this section altogether. I normally just get it to this damp state and let it go from there. That's taken out enough of the texture that I can work with, but I'm going to go ahead and just so you can see the entire thing and how long it takes. Now this is completely dry. When I am doing this, I work with bigger sections. I'm going to be honest. I work with bigger sections. And so, of course, the bigger your sections, the faster you can get done. As you are finishing up drying, you may not be able to see this, but again, I've got a couple of more pieces of shed hair, and I look at them to make sure they're shed hairs and not breakage. And all of these have the little ball on the end, so these are truly shed hairs. So this is what it ends up looking like, and I'm not going to stay on this camera and blow dry my entire hair because I will be on here all night. When I was using that tension method with the blow dryer and the brush, it probably took, like, seriously, I could be doing that an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour. I remember thinking, okay, it took me just as long to blow dry my hair as it does to set a wash and go. That is kind of Well, I'm better at the washing those now, but nevertheless, it took over an hour to dry my hair. When I am not having to record and talk through it and I'm just going at it, do it, I can do my entire head in 25 minutes and be done. 25 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. So let's pull this hair down, see where we at lengthwise. Making a little progress. Yeah, it's been probably 2 years since I dried it. So I'm going to do the whole thing and then I'm going to come by and let you guys look at it. But more than anything else, girl, get yourself this dry. If you twist your hair and you know that you're prone to doing your hair late at night like I am, and you don't want to wake up with a wet head, you want your hair to look good, you want it to be dry so that you can get out the next morning and be fierce, go down and click the link and get that dryer. But yeah, this is completely dry and it feels so soft. It feels so soft. It's soft and it's moisturized, and you cannot tell that I used a comb whatsoever. It is not sticky. It is not waxy feeling. And again, when you use just only a few drops of that oil, you're not saturating your hair with it. So you're just not going to get a whole lot of issues. So you're not. Okay, you guys, I am back blow drying this hair. So as you can see, a lot of the texture is out without it being like flat, straight. It still has volume, it still has kinks in it, but I wanted to show you kind of what this ends up like. Okay, there are several lessons here. These are bad ends. You see my hair and then you see the ends of it, how it is dry. There are different lengths. When I go to twist my hair, I end up with just a few strings at the end to twirl because the hair is getting thinner as it gets to the bottom. When I get to the point where I'm having to detangle a little bit more at the ends because hair is getting caught in it, the hair curls up on itself. Some of the longer hairs mix with the shorter hairs and they, mingle all together and tangle together. That's when you know you need to trim your ends. Or if you feel your ends and, the top of your hair feels nice and soft, but then at the bottom it's all hard and crunchy, then, you can always moisturize it. You can moisturize it to death, and that will just patch it up for a while. But once you get to the point where you realize you're having to do that all the time, then that is probably a situation where you need to trim. I probably should have done this. In fact, I did not do it over the summer. I normally do it every season. I did it in the spring, but I did not do it over the springtime. And it really needs it. I'm ready to get to the point where my styles are looking better, when it's just easier to twist because the ends are a little bit more even. I have a gazillion textures here. So we know about the straight pieces in the front that won't curl. For the most part, the entire area around here is all kind of 4A, 4B. This center section is a whole nother animal. Like, it is completely different. If you are new to the channel, then you haven't heard me talk a lot about this. I did in the beginning of the year, where I talked about how I have to treat the center of my hair completely different from the rest of it, because the center section has a way more texture, and it is a completely different texture from the rest of my hair. It is shorter than the rest of it. Some of that belongs elsewhere. When I was, years ago, still learning my hair, I learned that when I tried to put my hair into 4 sections like everybody else did, because that's just what I saw, I kept trying to force my hair into different sections. This hair that was so much thicker than the rest was being forced down into the one of the 4 sections. And so I realized at some point, the hair in the center of my head is shorter than the rest, and it keeps breaking so badly. I have a harder time parting it. I have a harder time detangling it. Like, what's the deal? And so I learned that this section of hair, and it is a thing, I've met other people who have experienced it, this section of your hair can be totally different. And so the texture of it is different, so you tend to have to treat it differently. What I started doing was sectioning off my hair, and when I sectioned this middle section off, I put it in its own section. So instead of forcing it down to go into one of these 4 sections, I made a 5th section by sectioning it off here. And so I learned that most of my hair could get along with a thinner leave-in or like a medium consistency leave-in. This section up here needed thick, rich, buttery products. So I would literally have to put a different leave-in in this section. If I did a wash and go with a softer gel, I'd have to use a harder, more firmer holding gel in this section. When I am even styling, I can use the same product, but this section has to have more product. So it can be that this section of your hair is totally different. So if you find that this area is breaking off, you're gonna have to section it off and treat it differently. As soon as I started doing that, I could tell a huge difference. I sectioned it off, and because it was so many different lengths, I had to cut it off too. I had to cut it and just trim it back up so that all of the length was the same in the top. And so then that meant this section of my hair was shorter than the rest of it, and it still is. Like, it still is shorter because I decided instead of just cutting all the length off all the way around, I would just trim this down, and I still got some that goes with other pieces. You can see this, like it's like a little puzzle, and I have to figure it out every time. Some of these hairs goes in some of the longer sections. That does too. So when I say that, heaven knows when I'm gonna do this again. So I just want to show you what I mean. So this part of it, I had to cut shorter. So instead of cutting all of my hair to be this short, I chose to just trim this part up and cut off the straggly ends, knowing that this particular section of my hair was going to be shorter. And then as I trimmed the rest of it a little bit at a time, eventually, hopefully it'll catch up. This will catch up with the rest of the hair. Now, I say that, but there's a possibility that that may not happen because this hair is textured differently. It's more 4B, 4C-ish. And so that means it's wound tighter. So the texture is going to be tighter. So it's going to show more shrinkage. So even though it may actually look like it is shorter, it may be the same length, but still look shorter because it's just going to curl tighter than the rest of the hair. It's a different texture. I've just accepted it. But as soon as I start separating that off and treating it differently, making it a section unto itself, helped tremendously with the breakage. And the other area of my hair that has totally different texture is this back section, like this entire nape from ear to ear here in the back. It is more coily, so it is more of a 3C 4A type. It is very just perfect S curls. It cooperates and can use just about anything. A general product where I'm not having to search for products that's for my coarse hair can handle that part of the hair, can handle it, but the rest of it just, it needs products that just is suited for more coarser hair. So that is the story of that. Long story. So I am going to trim it. I am not going to record that video. And I'm sorry if you were thinking I was going to do that. I am a licensed cosmetologist, and so I am very uncomfortable coming on YouTube as a licensed person trying to show people how to cut hair. I don't want that to come across like I am trying to teach people how to cut hair, people that are not licensed, and then have some sort of liability legal issue with nobody. I don't want the cosmetology board coming after me. I don't want anybody coming after me saying you're licensed and you told me to cut my hair this way and I screwed it up because of you. no issues whatsoever. So I'm not going to trim on camera, but you guys know that there are some brave souls out there, and there are a gazillion videos out there where people teach you how they trim their hair, or at least just kind of give you some tips as to what to do if you want to try it yourself, and some things that you can follow. So you're gonna have to find those there. I did write down some things as I was drying my hair that I thought about, and I am going to put all of those in the description box. And they're just tips that I thought about for anybody who is interested in drying your hair at any point and you just want some healthier ways to do it. And these are not in any particular order. When I write them down in the description box, I'm trying to put them in more of an order. But as I was thinking about them, I just jotted them down. So dry your hair when it is damp and not soaking wet. You don't want to put heat on soaking wet hair, especially something that is like direct heat. That is really close to your hair strands. It's literally lying on your hair strands, and you don't want your hair to be soaking wet. Once you put your leave-in in and your serum or heat protectant or whatever, I would just walk around and let that hair dry naturally for about 30 minutes or so. Just kind of let it hang down. I would twist it up maybe, and then, or braid it up in some sections and let it hang down, or pin it back like I typically do in the times when I'm pre-pooling or deep conditioning. You know how I twist it up and then pin it down to my hair. I would just let it dry a little bit and let some of that excess moisture absorb out. And so dry it when damp, bottom line, not soaking wet. When you're drying your hair, be sure to keep the dryer moving in your hair. Don't just hold the dryer in one place, because that's the other thing. Let me say this. I don't know what I was thinking about when I said that dryer wasn't hot. That baby got pretty warm. Maybe because I hadn't used it since last year and I just completely forgot. And it wasn't the dryer that was like hot to the touch, but there are places when it made my hair hot. So as I was holding the hair and bringing the brush down, like there were some spots on my hair that was just like hot to the point where I had to take it off. So it can be hot. So I do understand how some people now can say that it is too hot. So be careful with that. Keep the dryer moving. That is the thing that will help with the hot hair. Don't let it sit in one place. Just say your roots are really still damp, or your, mid shaft or somewhere is really, really still damp and you want that part to dry. Don't just hold the dryer there. You want to just keep using those strokes and the brush to continue to keep the dryer moving. Be sure your hair is detangled. Be sure your hair is detangled. That will cut down on a ton of breakage, and not only that, but a ton of time while you are drying your hair. There are some places that I caught where some of these bristles ended up snagging my hair. And that's because sometimes shed hair still in my hair will get caught in these as I am gliding the dryer down my hair. So these little things can catch your hair. If it's properly detangled, that will help a ton with that. And also know that if you've got dry, brittle, uneven ends, that will also snag. The dryer will snag in there. I had that to happen a few times, and it was just like right at the ends. And I know the ends are raggedy, so that is very likely to happen. So be careful with that. Start at the bottom when you're drying your hair, just like when you're detangling, because I don't care how thoroughly detangled you think you have your hair, that thing is going to pick up all of the shed hair that's left, particularly those that get stuck in your roots. You might be detangling your hair from the ends and going up and up and up, and may not be able to get, right in the roots to get the rest of that detangled hair out. But that dryer is going to pick it up. So start at the ends, just like you use your detangling brush, and continue to go up as you are drying your hair. Those little bristles will get down on your scalp, and so they will pull hair out that is stuck in there that you can't see and don't even know is there. It is kind of nice because these little things are comfortable on your scalp, so your scalp does get a little bit of stimulating a little bit, so it will reach all the way down there. And if you don't work in huge sections and work in smaller sections, this can get down to the roots. But if I were working in a section this big, then you see how I would be forced to start here because the dryer wouldn't be able to get down to the roots. Whereas if I was using a smaller section, I could use the dryer under here and then there, and it would just get all the way down to my roots and pull out the rest of the tangled hair. So that, dry in sections, that was the other thing. Don't take big sections. I know it's so tempting because you can just go faster, but if you dry in sections, you'll be just a whole lot less frustrated, just like it is when you're, washing or styling in sections. It just makes the process just smoother and easier. You don't have hair getting in the way. And then you can make sure that your roots get dry, as opposed to if it's bigger and you can't get down there, well, your roots now may end up damp, your rest of your hair dry, and that's a whole nother thing. Be sure to use a heat protector, whatever kind you like. Now, I use the Skinny Treatment by Paul Mitchell and use the silicones as a heat protectant, but you can use heat protectant sprays. I have a few that are up there. I have a spray one that I got, I don't know, from Walmart. I think it's a L'Oreal brand. I've got one by Kenra that I really like, but those are not natural ingredients. I mean, they are going to have some semblance of something that protects the hair. All heat protectants do. I have one that has mostly oils in it. It has soybean oil, and I think it has a vitamin E, and you're just reading along and it has all these great oils, and then you look there and still there's a dimethicone in there. There's just going to be one to protect your hair. And until somebody comes along and make one that is completely if you know of one that is completely natural, that does not use silicone, that works well, do drop that down below. I would love to know about that because I try to find one as natural as possible and have not been able to do that yet. And the other thing is to handle your hair gently. Be patient when you are using that dryer because you will come up against places where it gets stuck because of snags or because of tangled hair. And if you are hungry, tired, mad, frustrated, tired, whatever it is, you will have a tendency to just rip through that and just keep going. And you really want to take the time and use your fingers or an oil and separate any tangled hair or snags, and then go back and gently use that blow dryer because yeah, you're bound to run into at least one or two snags, and you don't want to just rip through it. So do that at the right time. Make sure you're in a good emotional place and you want to pamper yourself and not, you just got through arguing with somebody and you furious and you still got that on your mind as you ripping through your hair because you don't want your hair to have to pay for that. So those are the tips that I wrote down. I am bound to think of others as I am editing and going along, and then I'll add it to that list, and I'll put all of those dryer tips down in the description box. Okay, also now, this video is going to be long again. I don't care how easy and fast I think a video is, it turns out to be forever. Like it's somebody else's fault. It's me, and I know it. But I just want to give you all the information that I can think of so that, and trying to, in my head, answer things that I think someone may have a question about or may not even know about, and, it'll be helpful to you. If I could get a message to Revlon, what I would tell them is to make these little balls smaller. In a perfect world, these little balls would be smaller, and instead of just cool, low, and high, if someone could give us a dryer with more settings on it, say about 5 settings, something where you could turn it up as high or as low as you want. I know that's what they were trying to do by the well, no, they're not actually. This is cool, low, and high. So this is about temperature. But as far as the wattage of power that you're getting out of there, if someone could make us one, if you're creative, an engineer, that might be your family's legacy. Make us a dryer that has some settings on it where we could, start it low and then go up to high where you've got about 5 or 6 settings to choose from. That would be nice because some of us may literally just want to take a few kinks out of your hair. You might want to set it to 1 or 2, and then there may be somebody who's getting ready to do a silk press and really gonna get their hair shiny, well, they might want to rev that baby up to 6 and just make it hot and dry and get it over with. So anyway, that is it. That is the video. That's all I can think of. Check the description box as I think of other stuff. Like I said, it will be there. If you have never been to one of my videos before, thank you so much. I hope that you found this information helpful enough and to know that I try to make every video as informative as I can, which is why you'll see that they are so long. Sometimes I look at the times of those videos and I'm like, this is like a reality show. I feel like I'm doing a reality show. I'm on here every single day for sometimes 30 minutes at a time. And so these people are a part of my life and they're just watching. Every episode feels like an episode to me. And so I had my husband laughing about that. Just as a recording my reality show, I'm just going down here to continue. But nevertheless, drop down below, you guys, if you can think of any questions, any comments that you want to add to this video, any feedback, anything at all. Be sure to drop it down below. I will read it, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Also, in the description box, I will put the link where you can get that sweet little baby on Amazon. And if you're interested in it, you can go look at it, read some reviews, read all the details, because I didn't even bring out the box that shows like the wattage and how it's, tourmaline heat or whatever, and so it's supposed to be safer for the heat. I didn't even touch on any of that, but you can read all that in the description on the webpage, and then read other reviews. There's a lot of reviews there from naturals, or black women textured hair, you know what I mean. All right, you guys, I'm going to close out this video and go and finish up this hair, and so I will see you next time. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you later. Bye.